I used 3 pallets to cover this front yard eyesore, and I can't believe how good it looks. I stood 2 pallets up on either side of my garbage can and thought they were the perfect height, so I didn't trim them. I cut up a 3rd pallet and used the boards for the top. After you get each board off, then you can pull the nails. I measured the distance between each pallet as they were standing up, which was 38 inches. I didn't show this, but I used a miter saw to cut each edge so it was square. I secured the boards with a brad nailer, and then I added the pallet boards on top, also securing them with a brad nailer. Just like this, it creates a nice way to store your garbage can, but I decided to take it one step further and added a dollar store bamboo beach mat and planter on top. I absolutely love how this turned out. It's the perfect hideout for my ugly garbage can. What do you think?
I've got an eyesore in the front of my house, and it's my garbage can. I've got an inexpensive idea, and it happens to use pallets. What I'm going to do is get them squared up, and I want to make sure that they're just wide enough for the garbage can to go in and out without rubbing. Once I get it squared up and the sides are holding up pretty good, the next step is I got to cut some railings actually. These can be made out of 2x3s or 2x4s. Once they get cut, I'm going to measure about 7.5 inches down from the top. This is going to give me some good markings that I need to put each one on each side of the pallets. It doesn't take a lot of screws because not a lot of weight's going to go on there. Then I'm going to grab my reciprocal saw and I'm going to cut the less desirable pallet that's going to go on top. So all it takes is 3 good cuts. Once I do got this cut, what I can do is I could sand it down a little bit to make it look nicer, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and just slide it right on top. Take some care with this because when I put it on top, then I'm going to secure it with some screws. Once I got that, I want to go ahead and trim out the opening. I grabbed some old fence pallets that I had that were redwood, and I'm going to go ahead and just brad nail these on the top. I am also going to put it on the side. Now, it doesn't take a lot of nails to hold this in place because it doesn't weigh very much. So, once I get this on, I am going to go ahead and do the same on the sides. That way it looks more like a little bit of a door frame or anything when I put it on. Once it's all put together, then I can slide my garbage can in. Now, I want to decorate it. There's many options you can do. You can put some vines on the top around the sides, hang some pictures or anything like that. But I think it turned out really nice. Gets rid of that eyesore just having the garbage can out front. I hope this motivated you to build your own inexpensive trash can enclosure. Thank you for watching Hometalk, and we'll catch you next time. I've got an area on the side of my house that is just ugly with an old hose. So what I'm going to do is take some handles and also the base for a planter, and I'm going to put these handles on the side. But it can be difficult to find out how to do it. So all you got to do is take the handles and put some tape over them. Take a pen, and you're just going to poke through where the screws go in the handles. Then you'll just peel the tape off, and you can then transport the tape onto the side of the planter where you want to drill your marks. Once you got it on there firmly, just go ahead and take a pen or a black marker and just push it through and mark. This is where you're going to drill the holes. Once you remove the tape, it's going to show you where your 2 marks are. Now, on the screws that go for the handles, you want to make sure you get the right size drill bit, just enough that the threads will go through the planter. Drill your holes, and then you can pop the screws through from the inside to the out. And that way you can go ahead and put these handles on. Use your hand to tighten them first, and then a screwdriver later. Go ahead and put both sides on, and make sure you get them nice and tight. We're going to be using these handles to carry this base around. Then what we're going to do is go ahead, put both sides on, but we're going to flip it over because we need to drill some drain holes. I went ahead and just used these marks that are on the back and put them all the way through, and also want to make sure I get the middle one. That way it can drain if it needs to. Once we got these holes drilled, turn it back over, and we're going to use some succulent potting soil. Put that all over and spread it out, fill it up, and then you can begin to go ahead and transplant your succulents over to this base. All you have to do is make a hole and put the roots in. It's great. Succulents are so good at being transported over from one pot to another, and they're easy to take care of. I love having them because they don't take as much water. Sometimes I call them forget-me-nots because you can forget them for a while and they hold up great. Go ahead and put in as many or as few as you want. On the planter, though, where we're going to hide the hose, we need to drill a hole about halfway up, and that's how we're going to put the hose in. Go ahead and make sure about a 1-inch hole will be just fine. Also, sometimes them garden hose leak, so we also want to put some drain holes in the bottom of this planter. Now, the last thing we got to do is put some wood in there. That's going to hold this lid up. I went ahead and used my drill to do a pre-drill, put some screws in there, and then you put the wood back up against the side, and you'll use your drill to go ahead and cinch those screws down. If you do it nice and tight, it's going to hold it really nice. Once you got it, make sure you do 2 on each side. Make sure you also get that garden hose through. Pull it all the way through, wrap it up, and look at that. Go ahead and put your succulent tray right on top. I hope this inspired you to build your own DIY succulent tray garden hose holder. I've got this old extension cord just sitting around, and I don't like the look of it. First thing I'm going to do is take some cardboard outside and lay it down. And then I ordered off Amazon some ball pit balls. But the problem is, how do you paint them? They just float everywhere. I, quote, borrowed some pins from my wife. And what I'm going to do is stick those up through the back of the cardboard. And I'm going to place the ball on top very carefully because they are sharp and push it down. I'm going to do this to every single one. Look how good that holds right there. So I'll take the next one, place the pin through the back, and again, put the ball right on top. I can keep going down each row and do this. You want to hold the back of the pin while you're doing this so that it doesn't push through. As you can see, I'm going to put out 2 different layers. One is going to be painted white and the other side black. Now, I did paint on a little bit on a windy day, but I got nice and close and I put little squirts of paint on. If you do too much paint, it's going to run, so you got to be very careful. You may have to do 2 coats. As you can see, there's going to be some gaps, but that's okay. I'll show you what we're going to do later. I'm going to do the white on one side and the black on the other. Again, making sure I just do little squirts so I don't get too much of some running. Once I get all of that in and it's painted and it looks good, it's time to flip them over. I may have got a little impatient and didn't wait for them to dry all the way. Got a little bit on my hand, but you just pull the balls off, hold the back of the pins with one hand, and push it on through. Once you get those all pulled over, we can go ahead and start painting the other sides. Now, again, just do little squirts and don't put too much. Once I get those covered, they're going to look really good. Again, like the black covered nice. And I'm going to pull that off. And then I can take the pen out and watch this. There we go. It's like I never borrowed it. And then what we can do is take an X-Acto knife or any kind of sharp knife, and we're going to put a little hole on one side. Now, it can be square, diamond shaped, not a big deal. Cut it through, and then you're going to go the exact opposite side and put the same size hole. This is what's going to go around our extension cord. You want to make sure it's just high enough and big enough to cover it. Then down the seam of the ball, which is the toughest part, we're going to go ahead and cut from one side to the other. Only on one side though. Once we get it all the way cut around and all the way through, then we can slide the cord on. So we're going to put it on right here, starting with one of the black balls, starting first, and watch this. We're going to push it together, and then what we can do is use some super glue to hold it in place. Once we hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds, it's good. We're going to alternate white to black all the way down. Just keep doing it and put hot glue on. Once I get that on, look at this. I'm going to plug it in. Oh, actually it looks really good. It matches the decor of our house, but you can choose any colors you want, especially around Christmas. Can you imagine? I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did making it. Thank you for watching Home Talk. We'll catch you next time.